What is up, guys? Teddy Cornwall here. Welcome to the Underdog Talk podcast, the world's most underrated podcast, and there's something about the underdog. But today we have a Wildcat Steeler. Shit, should I go on with that? No, we'll just stop right there. Benny Snell Jr. What is up, sir? How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I can't complain, man. I'm blessed.
And another day, another dollar, as I said to you, and we're here, man. And I love what you did in Kentucky. You know, in the SEC, I think it's so hard to replicate back to back to back, careers, seasons like you had. And I kind of want to take it a little bit back. Why decide to go to Kentucky? Why football? Why all that, Benny?
Yeah. Man, I just feel like I had that grit, man. I had that heart. I had that want to very young, man. I was very competitive as a little boy. My dad played ball as well. He had a year or two with the Ravens and had some overseas XFL play a little bit. So yeah, man, him just installing that in me and playing ball young, like I was the kind of kid that I'd cry whenever I didn't score a touchdown. Or whenever I strike out, I'd cry because I just wanted to hit the ball and do well. So I had high expectations for myself very young, and it took me a long way, man. So I kind of felt like just having that mindset, that forming me as a kid, going through high school and having my experience, I kind of felt like I wanted to be a contributor for whatever team it was right away. So kind of looking at my options. I'm an Ohio guy, Columbus, Ohio guy. I kind of wanted to be the hometown hero for Ohio State. And Jim Trussell was the guy, man. I always just remember Saturdays at my grandma's, turn on Ohio State. And it was great football I was watching, man. So I wanted to be a part of it. Kind of through the recruiting process, it didn't work out that way. And I felt like Kentucky was the next big program that a change needed to happen. And getting real close with the guys that I got recruited with, my boy Cash Daniels, my boy AJ. There's a lot of my homeboys that I could list that came in me in that Kentucky class. But formed that, had a little group chat, had that camaraderie, and I took the plan that Kentucky was the best for me.
Yeah, and obviously, you had some other solid options. You had that ACC school in the Boston College, who we just saw do the upset. So definitely a very prestigious football program as well. Matt Ryan in 2006, a great program. You had Iowa, Cincinnati, I believe you had Toledo. So some really great options. Obviously, it did pan out for you, and 3 years there, and each year more rushing yards, more improvement, and ultimately becoming the man you are today because of that. And, I want to say, in your second year, did you ever see NFL? Was NFL always the goal for you, Benny?
That's a great question, man. I want to say it wasn't, because I was just playing ball. I loved it. I kind of got hip to it as a kid, very young, and it's all I knew. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that, with more time that I put into this craft, it's just setting me further apart from everyone else. So, man, throughout my years, I could. This is a great question, because throughout all them years, I never thought about the NFL. I've probably had I don't know, like kind of like at the end of the seasons, just think about how the season went and how your performance went. I probably thought one or twice, like, wow, like I'm gonna, the NFL is like it's possible, but I got so much ahead of me right now, so let me just focus on what I need to. So yeah, man, I barely thought about it.
Wow, I think you are, in all my years of doing this podcast and talking to NFL players, I think you are the first person to ever give that answer, and I respect the hell out of it.
Yes,
because at the end of the day, we can only take things day by day, Benny. It's what's today, not what's tomorrow, not what was yesterday, and
right.
and you had that mindset, and it shows in the Kentucky Blue. Is, again, as I mentioned, each year yards were going up. Each year, records were being broken. And then obviously, your junior year is your last year in Kentucky. Did did you not want to go a senior year? Was it draft time at that point, Benny?
So I kind of really took that decision pretty slow. I kind of wanted to wait until the season was fully over for me to decide on what I wanted to do because man, I felt like if and even for the fans out there, if I wasn't able to break that record
Mhm.
that junior year, I probably would have had a senior year. I would have felt like I had something to prove.
Yeah.
And this is another thing I hear, like I could have stayed my senior year and just, extended my records or, we go for even bigger. And you gotta also as a football player, you get caught up in the best moves to make and what needs to go on, man. I had to really think about myself. You know, I had to really think about myself, had to really think about my family because all my time is going in the ball, all my time is going into the fans and my craft, and I got to think about myself. And that started to, kind of help me as a man and my decision making, as I got out of college. But yeah, man, I made that decision because it was the best, especially for me and my family, and it was the right decision.
And obviously something we'll kind of get discussed later down the show is the NIL and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And obviously, you're talking about, for those who don't know, the 43-year-old record that you broke by legendary Sonny Collins. And yeah, so in your 3 seasons, you broke that 43-year record. So congratulations on that. Job well done.
So.
Now going into, that draft, where were you thinking you were going to go? What round was that? Obviously, the Steelers select you. What was kind of the talk around town for you?
Oh man, I really wasn't sure, man. I kind of felt like I had an image in my head. If I'd give myself a grade, like a B minus C grade, as far as like going maybe between 2 and 4, second round, fourth round. And I'm a running back, man. I got to be realistic,
Yeah.
especially with there being a lot of great players all across the board. You got to be realistic with your talent. You got to also go off of, what you do on the film, when the combine comes, and you have decisions and stuff you can work with. So being realistic with myself, I was thinking, you know, maybe at the end of the second or the third, but I'm okay with the fourth because again, it was the right decision. It was obviously with the right team. I love the Steelers, and yeah, man, I'm happy. I loved it. I loved it.
And I think again, you've got to give yourself a pat on the back because you got drafted in to the National Football League, which
Yes, sir.
what is it? 1% of the everyone who does college football is 3%, some crazy number. Now
Hmm.
you kind of spoke on that running back position, Benny, and it is such a unique position. Obviously, we see some people getting paid, with Saquon and CMC, and
Yeah,
some people not getting paid. What do you think the current, running back position is like? What is going on with all that?
it's a great question, man. I want to give it at least about 2 years ago, maybe a year or 2 years ago, when and another person that sticks out to me is Le'Veon Bell. I want to mention that Le'Veon Bell, man, he had that kind of run in, and Todd Gurley is another guy, um, where just an opportunity comes where you obviously see you're not getting what you think is your worth or what you think your value is, and business moves have to be made, man. So your emotions can't be tied in it. Business is business. With that being said, man, the running back position or the running back market is tough. I feel like, at least like I said, 1 or 2 years ago, it took a crash. It took a major crash. It's just like, you could recruit the next young guy or whoever, and he can just do the job. But as far as quality in a running back, how much he gets beat up. Um, and just all the things as far as his assignment, what needs to be done, it's just not adding up. It's just not adding up with the price. And yeah, man, it's a lot of players have been taking a hit. I've taken a hit myself, as far as trying to figure out the market, trying to understand it, and figuring out how to move once you do understand it. And there's a lot that goes into it. You know what I mean? So it's been up and down, man. It's kind of basically like the receiving scat backs are the best thing right now. They can block, they can get the job done. But those I don't know how to say it, man. I want to say classic, but that's not the word. But those just nitty gritty running backs, like maybe myself, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, or Leonard Fournette, those guys that's going to get the short yards, definitely picking up the block, and a take one all the way if you need it. So man, I could this is for another podcast. I could speak all day about it, man, because I played the position and that's all I know. But yeah, the market's tough. It's been up and down.
And obviously, I think you mentioned two guys who I don't want to say were forgotten, but obviously Le'Veon was a superstar when he played with the Steelers, and
Yes,
and Todd Gurley to me is what he did in his shortened years before the injury, and was remarkable. And it's kind of like it was the next man up. They were forgotten about. Obviously people know Todd Gurley for the Rams. Do people know he played for another team after that? Do people know Le'Veon Bell, played on another team after that? And
right.
it's unfortunate because they did work so hard, and then they're kind of left in the dust. And it's almost like it's a next man up league.
Right.
And like you said, Benny, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a business. We see it all the time where players get traded, players, get cut, and it's unfortunate. But again, it's the business side of ball. Now, going into the Steelers, obviously you were the next man up. What was that all like, kind of being on the Steelers, being with James Conner? You still had maybe a year with Big Ben. What was that all like, being on the Steelers?
Man, an amazing experience. Something I can definitely never forget. They do good football over there, man. They made me feel welcomed. It felt like home right away. Just Mike Tomlin just being such a wise man, and always speaking knowledge every time he speaks. Him saying hi to you every day. It goes a long way, man, and it makes you want to go to war for a guy like that. So I just have a lot of respect for that team, that organization, man. They play to win. I got to learn from Big Ben, James Conner, obviously, Juju. There's a lot of amazing guys that I'm forgetting. My boy Rosie, the Pouncey. Man, the list goes on, man. Just being able, especially, as a little boy, watching the Steelers and just like, wow, like, every Sunday, catch them on a nice Sunday versus the Ravens, where my dad is just tuned in talking about the game. And another thing with me is, man, I never really watched football that when I was young, man. I never really watched it. I was just playing it. So I was enjoying the kid life. I just wasn't watching football as much, as I do now, obviously. But man, I'd catch it a good Sunday where they're making plays, and I'm just like, wow, like the Steelers are dope, man. The Steelers are that. Yeah. And and then being able to play, especially alongside Big Ben, it's just amazing, man. And it's just a little check mark you can mark off your little bucket list, man.
Yeah, and I mean, Steelers Ravens rivalry.
Huge.
You put that in history, because those. I mean, you think about. I mean, I'm only 25, so I'm thinking of kind of Ray Lewis era.
Oh yeah.
Ed Reed, and then Big Ben and Antonio Brown, and just the war it was. It was an absolute war. Those guys were not holding back on anything on either side. It was blood, sweat, tears, and obviously it was. I mean, that's football to me. And I mean, yeah, just
football. I agree.
True yes, football. Sir. And obviously, I also have to say congratulations as well. I think one thing that interests me is, obviously being a football player, you're a father as well, and congratulations to that.
Thank you.
A father, and being impact on your kid's life. What is it like being a father, being a football player, and kind of how did that balance work, Benny?
Well, my baby, he's my little man is 6 months right now. So he's fairly young. I really didn't have him around the time I was with the Steelers or playing ball, but having him just gave me a whole nother perspective of like a way to, I gotta make sure that I teach him all the right stuff. I get to see his like development process, man, and it just as a man, it just made me better in and out, man. And it's just like the best gift in the world, and I just see so much of me in him, and I'm just thankful, man. So yeah.
And hey, one day he follows in your footsteps, goes to Kentucky, rocks it out. Beating your record would be hard there, Benny. So I don't know, but I think
It would.
Greatness. I mean, you said that, but that would be pretty damn cool if hypothetically did that and goes to NFL. But
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself being a father? I think you learned so much.
Yeah.
So much about yourself, honestly. What have you learned?
It's a great question, man. I've learned patience, man. That's the number one thing, patience. It's just something that you gotta go through trial and error with to really understand patience. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of examples that I could bring up, man. But like, just just knowing that, like, just knowing that the end goal is, being the best you can be, having a loving spirit, and going about it as far as a young kid comes, of course, just patience, man. Because I know my little man's destined for greatness, but he may whine if he doesn't get something he wants or whatever the case may be. So, I'm going to teach him certain ways as life is going to give you what you want. Sometimes you got to maybe go this route, or it's going to be harder to get what you want. So yeah, man, patience, just not wanting to jump and get what you think you need right away. That's for me, man.
Yeah, I think you hit on the nail on the head there, and being that role model for him. And hypothetically, and this is all hypothetical, if a team were to ask you right now, "Hey, Benny, we want you on the team," what would your answer be? I just thought about that, and I had to ask.
It's a great question. I'd be there next day.
Okay.
I'd be there next day. I'm definitely training right now. I'm definitely very prepared, and basically the marathon's not over for me. I'm still locked in.
Okay. Okay, so the career is not done.
It is not done. Yes, sir.
The book is still open. I love that because I think you have a lot to offer still. And I've watched your game. I used to be a Ravens fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Long story, but I watched you, and you were relentless. You brought an interesting kind of unique style to the game. Kind of reminded me of a few players, and I really liked the game. I think you could really fit in on some teams right now in the NFL. And I think, like we talked about, that running back is constantly evolving in terms of they're constantly needing a new running back, whether that be, knock on wood, injuries, knock on wood, etc. It is like you talked about, it's a hard nosed position, unfortunately.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna get beaten up as more than anyone. So it is kind of that, I guess, going back to that next man up attitude. So I'm really interested. Has any team reached out to you about coming back to the league?
Yes, sir. They have. I'm gonna choose not to say any names, but yes, sir.
Gotcha. No, that's, and also I hear, I'm not a big rap guy, but I also hear you're following Antonio Brown and doing the music thing while you're Is this true?
Yes, sir. I am. I've kind of been making music for a while. So guys, when you hear this is not like I just overnight did this. Like I've had the taste and sound for music since I was a little boy. I kind of took it serious in high school, but my focus had to shift to football, obviously. And yeah, man, I want to say it was maybe a year and a half ago. Snell, the album came out. It's on all platforms. Go check that out. And man, yeah, I feel like I got more stuff that's in the making that's gonna come out. But this is just emotion, like notepad mechanism. This is just for me and a side hobby. So this isn't like me just trying to go serious. You guys can check the music out. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? But this is my like little hobby, and I really enjoy it.
No, and have you ever thought about making a song with your, a former star Steeler, Antonio Brown? I know he's big into that music. part right now? Has that ever come across your mind?
Yep, it has, man. Shout out AB, man. I definitely, if that happens, I'd want it to happen organically. And AB and Le'Veon, man, that would be dope. That'd be dope, man.
Now, let me ask you kind of an open-ended question. Which one would you choose if you were given the option, being an NFL running back or being a star musician?
Which one would I choose?
Yes, if you had both right in front of you, which one are you going to? I know that's a hard question.
Wow.
Because I'm just saying the point that, to me, you can't do football as a hobby per se.
Right, exactly.
It's an everyday, and everyone tells me, all these NFL players, it's a 365 kind of thing.
Commit for sure, 100%.
That question.
That's really tough, man. I'm a man who stands on like what you believe in and like who you are, and I probably. Are we talking about right now?
Yes, right now, because you could do what you could say is you could do, hey, football now, and then once you're done football, hey, we're gonna focus on the music career.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man. I'm probably gonna choose the football route. I gotta choose the football route, man, and go all in because I know what I can do, man. Yeah. And with music, I'm dropping music and expressing myself, but excuse me, it's only going so far. It's only going so far. So I know my talents in football, and until I get the hours and stuff I need in with music, I'm a ball player, man.
Yeah, and I think that comes to the warrior that you are. You're a gridiron warrior. And I don't want to say you're not meant for music, because that's obviously part of who you are, like you talked about. It was with you, but right now, I think it comes down to you still have so much left in the damn tank.
Oh yeah.
On that field where it's almost like, okay, you got to finish what you started in a way.
Exactly.
Yes. And I think then, post career, I think it is actually a great thing to have a hobby. And, we had Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher on the podcast, and he talked about, obviously what it's like after a career, and all these former athletes it's hard to kind of find something after a career. So already having that hobby puts you a step ahead, because, okay, you're now not 365 days a year training, eating all this, and you have something that you can continue, which I think is a really, positive thing, and a really growth. It comes into that growth mindset aspect. So I think incorporate both. I didn't mean to put you on the spot asking that.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Obviously, what's next for you in the music industry? Obviously, we talked about football. I mean, any songs coming soon? Any albums coming soon? Any collabs? I mean, what's that all like?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. So I got an album that's on the way right now. I'm probably gonna drop a couple singles and maybe a music video before it comes out. Okay. This is my first time announcing it.
Wow.
This is about to be called Rich Before NIL. Ooh. And this is me getting to express how NIL has changed football, as far as like maybe like, in the college era, but like I'm really making it set in stone that like feel like I'm one of the creators of them even having this NIL idea. If we're able to go back, I was able to come up with Snell, which was a brand, kind of a saying, all around Kentucky that formed and took over the state before NIL. So, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with like Cam Newton or like Johnny Manziel, because those guys were huge before NIL, and we don't even want to talk numbers about what they would have been making or whatever the case may be. So I know that I heard something about the NCAA, or some news came out that people will be getting alumni players will be getting some type of money back from whatever. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I know that as far as for me, I did a lot for Kentucky. and I'm thankful for everything Kentucky has did for me. So with me coming out with Snell, yeah, way before its time, I just felt like I was way ahead of my time. And this album, Rich Before NIL, is gonna really show and give people a perspective of that story.
I think that is going to be an amazing perspective, and obviously through your music, it will be storytelling, and that is a great topic because we just had Brian Harson on the podcast, and it is actually out now if you're watching this now, Underdog Talk. But Coach was talking about the NIL and how it's kind of, as a coach, he views it kind of disrupting college play due to the transfers and all that. Obviously, for players, I think you can have your own opinion on that. I think looking at it as two different perspectives, you get two different lights on that. And I think NIL is definitely obviously booming right now. And I think he was more commenting on the transfer portal, how that's kind of just the loyalty, I want to say, is kind of
right.
And you stayed at 3 years at Kentucky. You balled out 3 years. You didn't do the transfer portal. You didn't go to another team. I think that's interesting. So what are your overall thoughts about the current NIL now, Benny?
I mean, right now, man, I could never hate, man. I could never hate on, somebody feeding their family or having money in their pocket. So, I'm glad that the players are finally getting what they deserve, as far as whatever self-likeness that they can bring, the value to the college or the team. But like you kind of said, man, it could get a little corrupted. It could get a little corrupted, and I just don't think that that's football, man. I don't know. It's kind of like how the young kids are nowadays, man. You like, what I mean? They probably want to take the easy way out, man. We got some. I'm one of the OG grinding backs, man. Like, I feel like we're the ones who really deserved it. But hey, it's their time now. So the money, man, and the money of turn who could possibly be a dog on the field, it could turn him soft because he's all about money, so very corrupted, man, very corrupted, and we'll see how it plays out.
And Brian Harsin was obviously the coach for Boise State and served as Auburn's head coach for a season. He actually made a very interesting point, which is piggybacking off your point, where you kind of don't develop as a person because sometimes you do need to get that backup experience, stay with your team, and then become the starter. And we've seen a lot. I mean, even in the NFL. I mean, right now we can think of Patrick Mahomes himself stayed on as a backup under Alex Smith, and obviously it's a different game. But in terms of the retrospect aspect, that he was a backup, stayed on his team. Not that he really had a chance lead per se, but he stayed on the team and then got his chance. I think that's what I'm alluding to, getting a chance in the league and not just going, hey, I didn't get my chance here, I'm going to go to another team. And, sometimes it doesn't work out either. So I think that's got to be kind of looked at as well. And even in the college, we've seen backups who were their freshman year, they were the backup. Next year, that senior got into the draft, they're the new star, and they take over. So it's kind of like, I think to me, I agree, yes, they need to get paid. Like you said, feed the family and all that stuff. I think that's a very important point. But I think it also shows character. Are you willing to quit just because you didn't get what you wanted? In a sense, to me, I think it has hurt college ball. And we had Jay Billis on, and he made the same thing about college basketball and how it's kind of just ruined the sport to a point. So I think there's definitely some different perspectives in that. Now, I did also hear, I run a podcast, I also heard that podcasting is possible for you as well.
Yeah, yes, sir, man. Maybe after this I can ask a couple questions, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I'm trying to get something together, man. I have a lot of close friends that got some good stories, man. And as far as teammates, some artists, and the list goes on, man. And I'm definitely in my baby steps of getting that going, man. So I'm looking forward to that.
And I think podcasts, I think the reason I do it is because, again, I'm just, a regular guy getting to speak to these people who have stories. And I think it helps people listen to the people they think are their heroes, like you. And they're just regular people too. They work their ass off to get where they are. And also that motivation and that different perspective. Like today, how we talked about, the running back market. I don't
Yep.
think too many people can get that perspective because you really need to hear it from a running back.
Exactly.
You can't hear it from a quarterback. I mean, they're getting paid. You can't hear it from a coach because it's a different. It's just not the same. So hearing it from you was really interesting to hear, kind of that light. Now, to add on to that question, Benny, where do you see football going? Do you see it going in the right direction? Obviously, each year we're getting changes to the game.
Yeah.
Some may say good, some may say bad, whether that be for player safety. Like now we have the Guardian cap, some are wearing it in the game. Again, which I'm not saying is good or bad, but what are your thoughts on the game evolving and the game it is now in the National Football League?
Great question, man. I kind of think that it's not in a direction that I like where it's going. I don't like where it's going. But it could be better for, players' safety and longevity, and it's going in that right direction. You mentioned the Guardian caps. I remember the Guardian caps, and they were being used in practice, and it reduced the percent of concussions every year. And that's just using them in practice alone. So being able to have the option to use it in a game, that completely that makes that percent way less. You know what I'm saying? So that's huge. Also, as a special teams player, the kick return being closer, that's interesting. That's very interesting because you could line certain guys up. You could line like the corners up on one side, have some linebackers and whoever in the mix right there. But like with the dynamic being so close, it does reduce impact, and it just makes it more of like, who do you put at that position to get off that block and make the tackle?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of new to me, as far as that. But yeah, man, it's taking a direction. I kind of feel like the league's getting a little softer as far as what they're doing, but they are making a step and protecting players, and I like that. So
I do too, and I think so many people want that hard-nosed football, but I think as everything in life does, it evolves.
yeah, it evolves.
We now know what we didn't know back when football started. And you can even see it through the helmet progression as well. So it's not like the league's getting soft. It's just the evolution of the game. I don't think it will ever become what people are worried about in that flag football aspect. I still think, football will always be football, just different tweaks and stuff.
Yeah.
The Guardian caps have definitely, I've seen research on them. And I know that some players are using it, just like I know Dalton Schultz wears the neck brace. I think Stephon Diggs also might wear one of those to kind of reduce the impact of a hit on the head. So small tweaks, and we see now, if your helmet comes off, you have to sit out a play in the college football aspect, and we see a lot more. Protocols on it, which I think is necessary to the game because to keep people in it longer, so that we can see the people we love.
I agree.
Able to be there longer. So I think it's a tough topic, but at the end of the day, if you really do love football and you want the best for the people you root for every day, it might come to that evolution aspect that we talked about. Now, I'm getting excited about your podcast. So who would your dream guest be? And then have you thought of a name for your podcast yet, Benny?
Man, I have not thought of a name yet, man. That's tough. My mind has been everywhere with a name because it has to be unique and meaningful, man. Like it just does. And you just have to get it right away too. Definitely. But man, my dream guest, that's amazing, bro. Like my dream guest, like, can I say dead or alive?
Yeah, dead or alive.
All right, man. I would interview Juice WRLD.
Okay.
I have to make that clear. Like Juice WRLD is like he was somebody that I felt like was ahead of his time, and he had so much knowledge, and he just had it all very young, you know what I'm saying? And he passed away young, and I just, if I could just sit down with him and I have so much questions to ask him and see how he thought about things or why he made his decisions, and just to see how he was, man. He was a good dude.
Yeah, and obviously, R.I.P. to him. His music was hit on a different, deeper level than most musicians these days. Not throwing any other musician, but you could hear that he was passionate about. It was his everything to him, and I
Mm-hmm.
see him live, and he was an opener when I saw him, and now obviously he would be the main
Headline.
headline. I mean, he'd sell out arenas, and that's what
Yeah.
he's done for this music and just done for people to connect to him. And I think, you don't have to, but I think if you're going to do a podcast named Benny, you got to do Snell, yeah. You got to do Snell, yeah, man.
The Snell, yeah, man. Man, yeah.
You would kill it with that.
Yeah, man.
I don't see anything else. I mean, I think Snell, yeah, has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be.
I like that.
You get the Kentucky fans, you get everyone who knew you in the NFL, and it's a play on words, and it also means so much to you, and it's kind of, in a sense, what made you who you are today.
Right? Exactly.
That's really damn cool.
I like that.
That'd be really damn cool. Now, what is the time frame for the podcast? Obviously, we'll promote it when you get it out. We'll promote everything. But when is the time frame for the podcast?
Man, I'm giving myself I'm a couple months, man. I'm researching right now, kind of in my phase where I'm looking for the equipment. But man, I'd say I'd give myself like a good 3 months, man. 3 months, I should be ready.
Damn, I love it. Now, man, before we end this podcast, and I got to ask you, you've really made a name for yourself, which many people can't say in the football aspect. And now, for someone who is trying to make a name for themselves and become a professional running back like you were, what would your biggest tip be for making it to the league?
Great question. You have to master the fundamentals. The little things is always what counts, man. And another tip is like extra time. Extra time beats everything. Like if you spend just 10, 15, maybe 30 minutes on extra film, as far as like a team you're prepping for, maybe it's a certain technique, anything, man. If you're able to, maybe you want to run extra, weight lift extra, like when you do that extra, it gets you that upper edge of whoever's doing the same thing or that opponent, you because they didn't do it, but you did though. So I took that a long way with me through this journey. And another thing which is I want a lot of young players to hear this, or aspiring football players, like it's not about the best team, it's about the team that plays the best. You wake up just like the same man that you're about to go against, you're about to compete against, whoever. I mean, it's just like you just have to have a certain edge about yourself. With this being an Underdog podcast, you're the underdog, man. Like if you really have that underdog feeling, that the light's not going to be shined on you, but they're still going to feel you're still going to make that impact in what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So that edge, as far as I'm going to make sure that I get extra time in today, or I'm going to make sure that this man that I line up across, he's not beating me, and there's no way it's not going no other way. That right there, that's going to take you a very long way.
And I couldn't agree more that this game is about inches, that fourth down or fourth and inches, third and inches, that little inch could change the whole play of the game. So I couldn't agree more. Now, before we go, Benny, the floor is yours. Where can we find your social media? Where can we find, obviously your music, anything you're working on now? The floor is yours, sir.
My man. You can check me out on Instagram. I am Benny Snell Jr. That's all together. On Twitter, Benny_Snell. And like I said, y'all, Snell, the album, it's out everywhere. Apple Music, Spotify, all the streaming platforms. Y'all can search up on YouTube, check out my music video, Blues Clues. My name is Ben Him on there, Ben Him, Blues Clues. I'm almost at like 4.2K views on there. And I got another video coming soon, man. So y'all be in tune, man. Rich Before NIL, Ben Him is coming soon.
Damn, the first 5 people to send me a picture on their phone of them listening to one of Benny's songs, send me that screenshot. We'll get you some special stuff out to you.
Oh yeah.
You want to play like the best, you got to listen to the best, as they say. And Benny, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the podcast, talk about the running back market, and give some tips and tricks to make the league, talk about fatherhood, all of that. And I think, best of luck for what's coming for you, because I think it's going to be big, and I think it is going to be exciting. So Underdog Talk, make sure to follow Benny on all those platforms, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Until next time, guys. Underdog